Hello everyone, my name is Arjun Sias. This is my team, Balakrishna Paluru and Pawan Kumar Hitches. We are here to present the topic called the Driving the Future, Managing Change in the Automotive Industry. Let's go to our slide number one and the question number one too. From country risk perspective, which is the most preferred region of the operation? This is the question we need to answer now. By using the risk analysis tool, we analyzed and taken key points to determine why we have selected the most preferred region of operation as India for driving the future AG automotive industry to set up their operation center. Compared to the other country, India might be lacking in few aspects of the risk analysis, but the below points or the coming points will explain why we selected India as a region of operation. Going to the next slide, let's look at the 3D chart, and you can see here there is a median line, and the topmost upper corner is for the higher risk countries, and the bottommost is the lower risk countries, which you might not be seeing in this screenshot. Compared to all other countries, India is lying just above the mid-range of the risk, neither too low nor too high. This is a good sign actually. And having a business technology and infrastructure risk at a 60% and economic and social risk at a 52%, this is a good ratio. And this is where we decided to go in and look further more details why we need to give India as the opportunity to operate AG automotive industry to set up its operation center. Going to the next slide, here you can see the charts of the business technology and infrastructure risk chart, which is we have taken the screenshots from the risk tool, and we have made analysis when compared to the other countries. You can see a green dot with a green line, that is for Indian chart, which is pretty much aligned and which is pretty much good when compared to the other countries. Let's go to the next slide, which will we talk more about the key points in the next slides, coming slides. Here, we talk more about the key points here. The first point is business impact of the rules on FDI is quite good in India. It means to say that India has opened up a vast opportunity for FDI, that is foreign direct investments into every sector, most of the sectors, except a few sectors which is India still need to open up. Employing workers is the good compared to the most of the region. When compared to all other regions, India is one of the India is in a very good spot of employing workers, keeping also in mind that India is the second highest population in the world. Quality and quantity of local supply of the goods is pretty good in India when compared to all other countries. Regulatory quality, electrical supply, and transportation infrastructure is pretty good in India, and with the current government, it is going to promise even better coming future. Most important one is the capacity of the technology adaptation. India has been adopting a lot of new technologies. This is one of the key factor for AG automotive industries as they wanted to be the innovation leader. This is the right place and this is the right time to invest in India. 60% risk involved in the business risk. Keeping in an optimistic mind, 60-40 ratio will be a good ratio. When we are discussing in our teams, we thought 60-40 is a defendable ratio and it is a good ratio. Coming to the next point is which is economic and social political risk. As you can see again, the green dotted line is for India. Here you might see economic stability is far more better than the business risk here. When it compares to the economic risk and the business risk, in India, business risk is around 60% and the economic risk is around 50%, which is a good sign. When the country is having economic stability, the business will do good. Definitely it will do good because of the norms, the structure, and everything. And the most recent update of India is India has come up with a GST plan. And the second thing is India has come up with a digitalization plan. And the third one is India has made the demonetization move, which is the brilliant move till today. Coming to the key points when we talk about the economic and social political risk, Burden of the custom procedure is one of the major factor. But when we're considering this factor, India is having a very less risk factor, I'm sorry, compared to all other regions. Exchange rate fluctuation is not much when compared to other countries as of now. From past 2016 till today, India has become very stable. International sanction restrictions, there is no problem on any kind of the restrictions in India. India is having the least risk factor in this term. A rule of law, this is another very important factor. Any country which depends on the rule of law and the law does not fluctuate a lot, this is a very risk factor which is way below the risk factor in India. Quality of labor, which is very important factor, which is very good at this point of time, and the less risk factor in India. Going to our second question, strategies to mitigate the risk for AG Automotive. From the risk analysis tool, we have analyzed few risks which need to mitigate. Mitigating these risks will give more value and will help a AG Automotive company to set up its operation base more comfortably. Brain drain. Especially India has a lot of techies and India has a lot of good resource which is going outside India. We need to, as an AG Automotive company, they need to retain. Retain policy is one of the most good HR policies which need to be implemented in growing market like this in order to retain the good resource, not to lose them. Burden of the government regulation. As per the latest data, India has passed the GST bill. This will reduce the burden of the government regulation, which will help the company. This is one of the risk mitigation which need to be considered, as though it is not a part of our chart, but it is the latest development which I thought to bring it into the notice. Strength of investor protection is less. When compared to all other regions, India has a very less strength of investor protection. But still, this can be mitigated by taking into consideration like GST, Make in India, demonetization, and Digital India. That's what I was telling on the earlier slide. Effect of the taxation will reduce as the GST implemented. There will be one tax rather than there will be two different taxes or many different taxes in many different states. All will be eradicated by one single tax, GST. Innovation capacity is comparatively low when compared to other countries, but this can be mitigated by investing a little bit more amount of innovation and R&D, as the cost of labor is very low in India. That can be offset of the cost of production or cost of operating budget. Going to the next slide, these are the areas need to address for our final due diligence before we confirm before we consider India would be the region that we opening an operation center. The country GDP is very good, which is 7.5. Country credit rating is average, which is 5.4. Total population, this is very good, 1,311 million. Local market share, which is already 8%, which can be improved as the production will be happening locally in India. This can be go till 10%. 3-year ahead annualization GDP is 7.6%. The seismic activity is very low. Risk of terrorism is quite high, but still it is controllable by the government, which is not a business controllable, but it is an economical controllable, which is uncontrollable factor for some extent, but it's still there in India. Cost of labor is very cheap. Labor law is good in India. By telling these things, we need to end up here. Thank you so much, everyone. Any questions will be happily expected. We will answer you in our mails.